You see, the so-called pro-black political parties, these political parties that claim to love black people more than everyone else, I will always question their love for black people, not because of what they say, but because of what they do. You look at the African National Congress, man. Right now, as we speak in South Africa, we have over 20 million people depending on social grants. President Ramaphosa was giving a speech the other day, and he said that in South Africa currently we have 18 million people depending on social grants. And because of COVID-19 and because of the African National Congress and the ANC caring for the black people, now we have 30 million people depending on the social grants. Ramaphosa was talking about this as if this is some kind of achievement for the African National Congress. But I understand that it may not be achievement because people can see that the African National Congress is using these Sassa grants to make people depend on them. The African National Congress doesn't care about inviting investors or attracting investors to come into South Africa, opening up companies so that people can start working. The African National Congress doesn't care about that. They don't care even about the investors that we currently have in the country right now. This is why the president can stand on stage and say that, guys, due to COVID-19, we now have over 10 million people that are now depending on the social grants, and the African National Congress is giving them 350s, and that is the good thing. Man, I think it is a good thing for the African National Congress because politically they will always be able to use this card just like they are using it right now. Ramaphosa right now is saying that if people don't vote for the African National Congress, they are going to lose their social grants. And guess what? The EFF comes out and say, this 350 that you are getting from the government, it is nothing. We are going to give you thousands and thousands of rand. Ramaphosa administration is doing nothing. The EFF is going to give you thousands and thousands of rand. These people are weaponizing black people's poverty for their political gain. Why can't people see that these so-called pro-black political parties that claim to love black people, they are using the poverty that has been experienced by a majority of black people in this country to further their political campaigns? How can these political parties campaign on something like social grants? It's almost as if these political parties are happy that many South Africans are unemployed. It's almost as if these political parties are happy that investors are leaving South Africa and investors are not coming into South Africa. These people are happy about that because right now the people have no one to depend on but the state. The people have the state to depend on. How can these people go around and claim to love black people, man, if they don't fight for black people to gain their independence? How is it possible for these people, man, to claim to love black people, but they do or say anything that makes you see that these people want black people to be independent? They don't want black people to be independent. Right now, the ANC and the EFF, they are fighting about who is going to give people more money, who is going to offer South Africans that are sitting at home more money. The taxpayers are paying for everything. Right now, the taxpayers, they're not even being considered. The taxpayers that are not even being considered. I think it is dirty and I think it is disgusting for the EFF and the ANC to campaign on the fact that the majority of the people are not working. For these people, man, to campaign promising people more money, campaigning, beating their chest and saying that we are giving you 350s and we are happy about that. For Julius Malema to stand in front of the people and say that we are going to give you more money for sitting at home and doing nothing. Man, how the hell are you going to create a situation where people stand up on their own and fight for their dreams? How are you going to create a situation where people are no longer dependent on the government when you are giving them more money to depend on the government? I mean, right now, Julius Malema goes around saying that if you have finished your matric, we are going to give you 2,000 rand for sitting at home and doing nothing. If you are unemployed and you have finished your matric, we are going to give you 2,000 rand for sitting at home and doing nothing, man. Are you honestly telling me that the EFF offering young people 2,000 rand to sit at home and do nothing, are they actually inspiring young people to stand on their own? Is that the way the EFF is going to inspire young people to stand on their own? These political parties, they don't want to see black people independent. they always preach about the independence of black people. They always preach about how important it is for black people to succeed on their own. They always preach about how important it is for black people to be independent. But the same people are telling poor South Africans that, guys, if you don't vote for the ANC and you vote for me, we are going to give you more money. The African National Congress comes out and says, if you don't vote for me, we are not going to give you your money. So these political parties are actually using the poor people's poverty for their political gains. How dirty is it for these political parties to go around and threaten people and promise people things they know that they cannot even be able to offer? I'm sick and tired of these political parties, man. I'm sick and tired of these political parties. Guys, this issue of social grants, how sustainable it is. This issue of social grants, how sustainable it is. I mean, the taxpayers are not even being happy about the fact that their money is being used this way. The taxpayers are not happy, and no one is ever saying that, guys, can we please hear what the taxpayers are saying? No one is saying, guys, how about we take this money that you guys are wasting on the social grants and we can actually do something important? Unfortunately, political parties that are talking like that, they will never be voted by the majority of the people in this country, because the majority of the people in this country, they depend on the social grants. So for these political parties that claim to love black people, but they are not being honest with black people, because if you want to be honest with black people, you have to tell them that, guys, if you are going to sit here and wait for the government to give you something, you are not going to be independent. If you are going to sit here and wait for the government to give you a social grant, you are not going to be self-sufficient. You will always sit here and wait for the government, because the government has created a lazy person in you. They know, you know that you are going to get money even if you go and look for a job, or even if you don't look for a job, you are going to get the money still. So tell me, how can these people go around and claim to love black people if they are using black people's poverty for their political campaigns? They are using black people's poverty for their political campaigns. They are using black people's poverty for their political campaigns. And no one can convince me these political parties love black people. No one can convince me these people are fighting for black people to stand on their own. No one can tell me these people, man, are fighting for black people to be self-sufficient. They are not fighting for black people to be self-sufficient. It can be that today people are accusing the African National Congress of creating a social welfare state, and today you have the EFF saying that we are going to give you more money. If you thought that you dependent on the African National Congress, just wait until the EFF gets into power. Then you're gonna see what depending on the government looks like. If you thought you dependent on the government, wait until the EFF gets into power. Then you're gonna see what depending on the government looks like. How is it even appealing to black people? How is it even appealing to black people? I think these political parties, man, actually understand that there is no standard amongst the black people. There is no standard amongst the black communities. No one is saying that, guys, how about our businesses? What are you going to do to help us with the businesses? What are you going to do to make sure that the young people in this country, they can compete with young people globally? What are you guys going to do about the education? Are you going to overhaul this 30% of Njimutech? And if yes, you are going to overhaul this 30% of Njimutech, what are you going to do about the children that have been the victims of this 30% of Njimutech? What are you going to do about the millions and millions of young people who were the victims of this Njimutech's 30%? Guys, these are the issues that you would think political parties who love black people, they would go there to the black communities and be honest with them and say, guys, let's start with the education. Let's start with the education. We're going to make sure that young people in this country, they are educated. We're going to make sure that young people in this country, they can compete with other young people globally. We're going to make sure that young people in this country, man, they're going to find all the assistance to make all the technological advances throughout the world. But no, they are not talking about that. They are talking about the social grants. They want young people to keep depending on the government. That's why they are offering them all sorts of money, because this is what they want. This is what they want. You know, for the longest time, guys, I think you guys know that I've been bashing politicians and I've been bashing political parties for actually failing to educate our people when it comes to their voter education. I've been bashing political parties that, guys, It can't be that every election season you guys are coming out and saying that we need to teach our people about how important it is for them to vote, or we need to teach our people about politics. But in the 5 years heading to the elections, there is not a single political party that actually embarks on helping South Africans understand the importance of voting. There is not a single political party that is out there in the communities teaching people about how important it is for South Africans to vote, or what does voting actually mean. These people are not doing that. I honestly believe that some of these political parties that are surrounding the African National Congress, you look at parties like the EFF, you look at the parties like Umkhonto Wesizwe, you look at parties like that party of Isma Khashule, African Congress for Transformation. These people are looking to capitalize on the fact that the majority of the people in the country, they are not educated. They are looking to capitalize on the fact that the majority of the people in the country cannot even exercise critical thinking. So this is why they come with all of these solutions that are sitting there on the plate. And the same people, they go around and they want us to believe that they love black people. They want us to believe that they love black people. You don't love black people, man. ANC, EFF, African Congress for Transformation, Umkhonto Wesizwe, you guys don't love black people. If Umkhonto Wesizwe loved black people, man, they would have told Jacob Zuma that, man, you've done enough damage. You need to sit down. You need to sit down. If African Congress for Transformation really loved black people, man, they would have said, Mahashule, you've had your turn in the African National Congress. You didn't do anything in the African National Congress. Instead, you helped the African National Congress destroy the lives of the people in this country. You need to sit on the side. You need to sit on the side. But this is not what is happening right now in the country. This is not what is happening right now in the country. So I don't know what is the end goal for these political parties, and keep promising people free money, promising South Africans free money to sit at home and do nothing. How the hell are you going to generate productive human beings? How are you going to generate productive human beings if you're gonna keep giving young people free money to sit at home and do nothing? You know, sometimes these political parties will say, yeah, we're gonna give them free money so that they can go out and look for employment. What employment? What employment? These political parties are saying that we're gonna give people free money so that they can find employment. What employment? What employment? There are no jobs in South Africa. There are no jobs in South Africa. Are you even surprised that young people in this country today, that 350, they call Ramaphosa, they are smoking it, they are drinking it, because they know that even if you print out your CVs and you go out to the firms, you will not find employment. This is South Africa. Young people understand what is happening in the country. I don't see many young people saying that I've taken my 350 and I've found employment. Of course, there are stories that of those exceptions. There are a couple of exceptions, but that is not the rule. There are a couple of exceptions, but it is not the rule. It is also inspiring when you see young people saying that, you know, with this 350 that I got from Ramaphosa, I managed to build myself a supermarket. Now I'm selling the vegetables, I'm selling the fruits. It is always nice to hear young people say that. But when you look at the majority of them, these young people that are getting this money, they are not doing that with the money. So what do you think giving these young people 2,000 rand is going to do to them? What do you think giving these drug addicts or drunkards 2,000 rand a month, how do you think it's going to improve their lives? You cannot tell me that you love black people if you are not willing to be honest with black people. You can't tell me that your party is a pro-black political party if you are not willing to be honest with the people. You guys need to say, guys, the African National Congress has destroyed this country so much, and these social accounts that the African National Congress is giving to you, they are not sustainable. They are not sustainable. This is what the political parties need to say to the people of South Africa. The people of South Africa, man, they can be angry all they want, but if these political parties actually loved the people of this country, they would tell them in the eyes that, guys, these social accounts, they are not sustainable. Right now, political parties are forced to say that we are going to give people the social accounts because they know that every political party that says we are not going to give you the social accounts, people are not going to vote for them. Why? Because people hate the truth. People hate the truth. People want to hear the only thing they want to hear is that South Africa has money. There's a lot of money in this country. You can get a free 2,000 rand for sitting at home. You can get a free 500 rand for having children. You can get 350 for being unemployed. This is what the South Africans love. And this is a situation that has been created by the African National Congress. And you have these political parties coming out and doubling down on what the African National Congress has created. So can you honestly sit here and tell me these political parties actually love black people? Can you tell me these pro-black political parties, these pseudo pan-Africanist political parties, do they actually love black people? Because you cannot tell me that you love black people if you are not willing to be honest with the black people. What is the end goal, guys? What is the end goal?
We must go and tell our grannies there at home that ANC goes around saying if EFF gets into government, it's going to take over Sassa. You will no longer get your 350. You will no longer get your social grants. It's a lie. It's a pure lie. Tina, we are not going to stop the 350. We are going to pay you according to your qualification. If you don't have matric, uzotala 350. From matric upwards, 2,000. When you get your first degree, 5,000. When you get your honors, 6,000. Because we cannot be given 350 the same way. We who go to school must be paid. To go to school should mean money. Because they don't give you a job, they must give you money. We must go and tell our grannies.
These are the promises headed to young people in this country. These are the promises headed to young people in this country. Man, these political parties can say all they want. Their supporters can be frustrated all they want. They can be mad at me all they want. But it is the truth. They don't love black people. They don't love black people, man. Just imagine, man, promising people all sorts of money. Promising people all sorts of money, man. Right now, it is already hard for the African National Congress to keep paying the social grants that we have today. But the EFF says that, guys, if we get into power, the people who have finished matric, we are giving them 2,000 rand. Everyone who have finished their degrees, we are giving you 5,000 rand. They say nothing, man, about empowering these young people to stand on their own. They say nothing about helping these young people, man, and empowering these young people to stand on their own. They want people to depend on the state. They love it when they see people depending on the state. It looks like the EFF, they love it when they see the African National Congress and what the ANC is doing with the people, especially with the grants. They say, man, we can't wait to get into union buildings. We cannot wait to make these people depend on the state. Man, I don't know what is the end goal, man. I don't know what is the end goal. I mean, you would think that a political party that wants to kick the African National Congress out of governance, it is actually a progressive political party that wants this country to move forward. It is a political party that wants people to start having uncomfortable conversations. You see someone like Gayton McKenzie, man, I think this is the reason why, again, Gayton McKenzie is gaining popularity in South Africa. Gayton McKenzie is as honest as they come. Gayton McKenzie is as honest as they come. And you know, if you go around and say, Gayton McKenzie, if African National Congress calls you, what are you going to do? Gayton McKenzie will tell you that I am going to answer that call. I am going to answer that call because I know many political parties will actually be waiting for the ANC to call them to go into coalition with them. This, like, South Africa needs someone like Gayton McKenzie. South Africa needs someone who can be open with them and be honest with them, no matter what. Someone who can be open with them, no matter what. These people, man, are people who want to pretend like everything it is okay in the country. They want the South Africans to act like everything is okay in the country. I mean, right now, even the people that are receiving the social grants, they are starting to feel it because they are looking at their peers and their peers are working. They look at the fact that some of their peers are getting married, their peers are buying cars, but when it comes to them, they are only waiting for the social grants. It depresses them. These social grants that were supposed to help them end up depressing them because they compare themselves with their peers, and their peers are moving forward, their peers are self-sufficient, their peers are working for themselves, but they are waiting for the social cons, and it depresses them. It depresses them. Guys, the ANC and the EFF, they are using black people's poverty to further their political campaigns. They are using black people's poverty to further their political campaigns. And if you do not understand that, then clearly there's something wrong with you. Nothing wrong with me. I can fully understand it. When the ANC comes out and says, man, if you don't vote for me, then you're going to lose your social cards. And the EFF comes out and say, the ANC is giving you small money. We want to give you real money. These people, man, they understand that majority of the people in the country, they are poor. They understand that majority of the people in the country, they depend on these social cards. So they are going to use the poverty that has been faced by a majority of the people in the country, which are black people, and campaign and further their political campaigns. I honestly think it is disgusting for these political parties that go around and claiming to love black people, for these political parties that go around and claiming to be there for black people. But when it comes to what they want to do and implement, it has nothing to do with improving the lives of poor black people in the country. Guys, please tell me what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button. And the most important part is subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.